All right, folks, we're coming up live on YouTube. Just waiting for Ed. Today's episode, Get Your Hopes Up with Marty Thurman, because we've got high hopes. We've got high hopes. All right, everything's working so far. And once Ed gets here and gets us streaming on Facebook, we'll start the show. We're already on YouTube. Everyone's watching.
Great. All right, do you need to go?
Are you concerned about the ratings?
No. I rate this a success. All right.
The Oakland Raiders?
The Oakland Raiders. Hello, everyone. Where are we? Oh, I see. Here we go. All right, let's see. Just going to get ourselves set up here. Here we go. Here we go, loop-de-loo. Here we go, loop-de-lie. Man, we are so happy to be here again to talk some truth. Darrell and our guest, Marty Thurman, have already been talking truth, so we already feel really good. So I just know this is going to be a wonderful episode. If you're out there in YouTube land, thank you for joining us for this live Saturday event every Saturday. Tell your friends, man, if they're going through something, they might want to tune in, because it's just, this is a healing science we talk about. It actually works. I'm not afraid to say it, although I have been in the past, but when you live it enough, it's just the truth. This stuff works, and it works for anyone and everyone who is willing to give it a go. So seen it transforming my life again and again and again, constantly, because we really are in a state of constant transformation and evolution all the time. We're always growing, getting better, and today's no exception to that. Let's see who's out there. Hey, Sherry Knight, love you. Thank you. Maybe my wife will join us. Who knows? Jillian might be out there. I got my St. Jude's shrine on my head, this giant St. Jude's hat, that courtesy of Darrell and Stephen Tom Thorpe.
It's called a high tower.
It's called a high tower. It's called a crown of favor.
Why do you keep putting it toward the side like one of the Fat Albert gang?
Strap it on, baby. Let's go.
Okay, you ready?
Yes. Oh, did we record the audio?
You know what? You're smarter than the average bear.
It's this hat, man.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing,
Yes.
where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected results.
Yes, it does.
I'm Darrell.
And I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Yes.
And we have an important breaking news item for all of you.
That's right. All right, everybody. Get your hopes up.
Yes!
That is the message for today. Get your hopes up with Marty Thurman. Wherever there is hope, recovery follows. This is the truth. Marty Thurman is a lunatic, by the way, who we've dug in dumpsters with before, getting great truths out of. So we're so happy she's back on the show. Wherever there is hope, recovery follows. Wherever there is hope, recovery follows. This is the truth. Wherever there is hope. So if you're holding out on hope, you got to start with some hope. Generate the hope. This is the truth. However, most of us, when in the running for a desired position, an award, an acting role, or good news on test results, we tend to outright dismiss hope. I don't want to get We'll start by sharing the good news with a friend, and then within the same breath, squelch our enthusiasm for it by saying, but I don't want to get my hopes up. Although we've been seemingly taught that by saying this phrase, we're being humble and respectable, the truth is we're actually denouncing God, negating our good. Because God is good. So when we're saying we don't want to get our hopes up. We're negating our good. We're denouncing what God is doing. We've replaced our faith with superstition, that somehow we're protecting ourselves with these statements, thinking that somehow if we cooperate with the positive stream of life and God's grace, that we will jeopardize it. That's insanity. On this episode, Darrell and Ed encourage listeners to break the habit of casting bad, superstitious spells upon themselves and start cooperating with God the good by casting good spells upon one another. That's the gospel, the good spell. And during the second segment, magnificent Marty Thurman gets us all living it up with today's reading from Foster McClellan, The Creative Power of the Mind.
All right. Next up, are we going to jump into our mail, our readings?
Oh, let me say, so I was talking to my buddy.
Oh, this is how the show came about.
And, we've known each other a really long time, and so we're very frank with each other at this point. And we know, in a loving, supportive way, and he was saying that he was very excited because he was telling me it was the funniest thing. He was out getting coffee or something, and he ran into a friend, a teacher at this old school that he used to teach at. And when he first started teaching in Berkeley, he taught at a middle school for 3 years. And he said it was an amazing position. And then he moved on to the high school, which he's been there for many years. But, he's getting close to wanting to just retire from the whole thing. And he's been thinking about that. Out of the blue, he sees this woman from that old middle school. And she tells him, look, we haven't had anyone that can do what you do at our school. It would be amazing if you could come back. And she said she was the one who was going to talk to the principal and try to get the ball rolling and try to get him to come back. And so he was very excited about it, but he noted, I don't want to get my hopes up. And so when he was all done sharing, I said, well, that's great. So why don't you just get your hopes up? You're allowed. It's legal. And we were talking about how, and he started laughing because he knows when he's been caught mentally, just like Darrell and I, he knows when he's saying something like that he's willing to let it go. And he's like, yeah, why am I not getting my hopes up? And when we started talking, I was like, yeah, when our hope is up, that means our faith is active. And that doesn't even matter if you get that job. Your life is blessed because it's a sign of land. It's a sign that you are loved and supported by the universe. It doesn't even matter if it's that job. But we always want to have our hopes up because that's when we're in alignment with what God the good is doing.
That's right. Should I kick it off with a reading?
Yeah, let's get a reading going.
We got lots of great readings.
We have lots of great readings.
Well, which one are we going to do? Which one would you?
Well, we were just talking about the faith or we could do the Foster McClellan, like self-government or no, what about we got
Marty's got the self-government.
No, Marty's got the other one. It's up to you. Okay, let's do the self-government because
you sure?
Or you want to do that? You got that one open.
We have so many good readings, folks. You know what? This one kind of
you seem
this is important.
Let your intuition lead the way.
And then we're gonna just
because the self-government thing. Part of this is Raymond Charles Barker. I read this week said, metaphysics is not for the faint of heart, because he was saying that our subconscious mind is going to try to keep reiterating its beliefs because that's our subconscious mind is the thing that's carrying out our beliefs. It's our conscious mind my conscious mind is speaking to you right now. Is that whatever you're doing right now, you're choosing to do it. You're here and now. Your subconscious mind is that voice that's feeding you this information, that's telling you the nature of reality, that's generating emotions. So when we make a change, our subconscious mind is going to try to go back to what it's used to. Because a lot of it, especially if it's some fearful belief that got wedged, because our subconscious mind is like, oh, we're going to die if we do, if we don't follow these rules, or something bad's going to happen. And it's going to try to convince us. So he was saying, if you don't want to go all in, then just go about your business the way you normally do. But if you want to experience this amazing life and this amazing healing, and you're willing to go all in, then metaphysics is for you. And he was saying how, like Nona Brooks, these old metaphysicians back in the day, they experienced these amazing healings. And Darrell was noting, like, they didn't have any other option, right? They had to go all in.
Yeah, well, all the way up until after the 40s, after the 50s and 60s with the vaccine for polio and TB. Yeah. Before that, people had to believe. Yeah. There was no real antibiotics, weren't even a big thing till after World War II.
Yeah, and then see the thing about having all these great little, not great little, but these great things, antibiotics and air conditioning and stuff, is we can lean into those a bit much and forget how powerful our creative mind is. Because this week I learned this is a healing science. I learned it for myself. I'm not the first person to say it. It's said all through all this literature. It is a healing science. If it healing meaning bringing forth wholeness in every area of our life. And if it's not doing that, then I need to look at my practice, because it is that powerful. And it actually happens rather easily when we completely surrender to the process. All right.
So this is the long and short of it. Your subconscious mind, in conjunction with the nervous system, constitutes a creative activity that operates automatically to achieve goals, and it is always at work. If you are consciously programming a goal into it, it will work toward that goal. If the subconscious is not consciously given a specific goal, it will usually seek one which is the easiest to attain based on past experience.
Yes.
The result is little or no change in your life.
That's right.
And it's so simple. And here's something.
Well, let me just give an example real quick of that. So if in the past I got terrified or scared of something that my mind was telling me or I believe was happening.
Or that your mom told you.
Right. And I ran to something, it could be alcohol, it could be a bad relationship, but it just gave me some relief from that fear. Then my subconscious is going to say, let's go back and do that thing, because we need to become the director of our subconscious mind. We don't just, I've learning to not just go along with the fear. If it feels bad, then I can reprogram and come up with a new solution if I'm willing to face the fear within myself. Because you got to think about what's really going on. It's so crazy that I'm afraid at times of my own mind, of my own thoughts, right? So the joy of realizing that we become the programmer, we could choose something new. And this is not something to dazzle people with. This is like to see the obvious. Oh yeah, it's not a good idea that I go run out and do that crazy thing out of fear. Maybe I should just relax and call Darrell and go get a coffee, or call Marty, or whatever, call a friend, or just do nothing. And how about I just sit and relax and breathe for a few minutes and then come up with a better solution? These are simple, practical things.
What was the beginning of that you kicked off that you were saying?
I was saying that because that you were talking about how our subconscious mind is going to tell us to do what it always has done.
It's seeking an old solution that may not be the best one.
Yeah.
Well, the reason to get our hopes up, because a lot of times in the past, and I could still catch myself if I'm feeling really down or I'm having a case of self-pity, what's the point?
Right.
I was just doing this morning with a friend of mine. It just dawned on me. I've been last night I had all these crazy dreams and I kept waking up and I go, well, you threw it all away, because I got back these paintings from years ago from someone and that I did. And that, along with all these old news items, because I was talking with another old friend from that time period, and I was thinking, I really threw it all away. I could have actually been really a successful artist had I just stayed the course in New York City, because I had all these legitimate accolades and accomplishments, but I didn't stick with it. I got interested in other things, which is great. But this morning I wasn't telling myself that was great. I was telling myself I blew it.
Right.
What's the point? And this reading here, and I'm going to read, this really drives home the fact that we really are the product of our consciousness, our conscious thinking. That means, because some people say, and in 12 steps groups, they encourage to meditate and pray to improve your conscious contact with God. And these words kind of lose their meaning when they're shared a lot. I mean, even to me, I forget what they really mean.
Right.
And you got to get, for lack of a better term, you got to get dumb. You got to get like a child and go, wait a minute.
That's right.
conscious contact with God. That means I'm choosing to think about good. That's conscious contact with God. I'm choosing to consciously decide to think in a hopeful manner. That's conscious contact with God. And that is like Raymond Charles Barker says, is not for the faint of heart, because we like to swim around in our self-pity.
Right.
For some strange reason, because it's like a warm blanket.
Yep.
But I now have to say no, no, no. And this morning was all just about no, Darrell, no. Like when I was having those thoughts, I go, no, just one foot in front of the other. Let's get the computer and set it up for the show.
Yes.
And I'm going to read this. And it's funny because my brother and I have often shared that we've actually proven that this stuff really works. And I'll tell you a short little story, but listen to this. That thing I just read is from a book called Creative Responsibility by C. Thomas Sicking. And if you're looking on YouTube, you could see it. I'm holding it up, but you could find this used on Amazon or anywhere they sell used books. I'm not sure if it's still in print. It probably is not, but I highly recommend it. And listen to this. You are a fantastically creative being right now. This is how you were created, and you can literally achieve anything of which you can conceive. That means anything you can think of. Don't sell yourself short. You are not the product of a broken home, a devastated economy, a world in the upheaval of war, a minority group, a family of drunkards, or a poverty-ridden neighborhood. You are the product of your own thinking processes. And whatever you are thinking about today is the cornerstone of your tomorrow. Right now, you have within you the innate ability to create the kind of life you want for you. This is simply the way your Creator created you. You are really awesomely and wonderfully made. And the thing is, it doesn't take, yes, it's not for the faint of heart, because we have to keep choosing the affirmative. However, it's relatively simple to do, to change your life. Oh, how could he say that? Because with every choice for a hopeful thought, and it comes to me from reading these books and from reading these books that simply reassure me of something that I feel is true already.
Yeah.
I didn't read Emmett Fox, 39 years ago when Mike Dugan recommended it and had to try to consume it and figure it out. As soon as I opened that book and started reading, I was like, holy cow, this makes total sense. The way he was talking about faith and hope and how this stuff works, I didn't feel like I was reading something unfamiliar, but I felt like I was getting a lot of reassurance that life doesn't have to be a struggle. And my brother worked in law enforcement for many years, and part of that job is showing up to court. And because he was a federal agent, he was dealing with some really despicable, criminals. And he would call me from a break from court and tell me the story about some guy who basically, like a Ted Bundy, right? We're talking about the worst of the worst. And my brother, and I said, well, what's happened? He's going, oh my God. The defense just gave this long talk about how, the guy, his parents were divorced when he was 8, and went on and on about how much trauma that causes and this and that. And my brother said he was sitting there waiting because he was thinking there's got to be more to this than that. And he went, wait a minute. Okay, recess. I rest. And he's like, wait, that's it? So he called me and told me, that's it? I said, I know, Eric, But we're proving that this stuff really works because, we had everything but a fire in the orphanage. And you know what? Sometimes when I want to feel bad, or if I start watching too many YouTube videos on trauma, I start to think, well, maybe the reason I'm feeling bad right now, or I'll tell myself any number of stories why I'm not getting to the next level, or, anything silly, is because, I was suffered through this, or this was in my past. And just like Thomas Sicking said in Creative Responsibility, I'm going to read it one more time. You are not the product of a broken home, a devastated economy, a world in the upheaval of war, a minority group, a family of drunkards, or poverty-ridden neighborhood. You are the product of your own thinking processes. And whatever you are thinking about today is the cornerstone of your tomorrow. And right now, you have within you the innate ability to create the kind of life you want for you. And it just starts with hope. And this has been proven that what he's saying is true, because if what people say, the product of a neighborhood, of a certain type of home or minority group, was the fact, then why certain neighborhoods, the whole neighborhood, whether it's a well-to-do one or not very well-to-do at all, well, why don't all those people end up in the same boat? You know what I mean? Some people from the super wealthy neighborhoods don't do so well at all. Some people from the extremely run down or, poverty-stricken neighborhoods do exceptionally well.
Yep.
And that proves this wonderful truth that we all have it. And how do we keep it? The easiest way for Darrell and Ed to keep it is to bring hope to others, to encourage others. If I'm constantly thinking about how can I encourage someone else, how can I be pleasant to someone else throughout my day, then that keeps me transforming. That's my easiest solution to all my problems. And today was one of them, just telling my mind no when it wanted to go into self-pity, and encouraging it by saying, no, let's just set up for the show, even though there was that tug of, blah,
Right.
the weather, it's raining, blah, like everything. But I know better.
Right.
This isn't for the faint of the heart,
No.
but it's also simple.
Yeah.
Simple. I did not figure my way out of that
Right.
situation. My brother did not figure his way out of that situation. We didn't say at young kids, X, Y, and Z, this is how we're going to get out of this, or this is how we're going to function this is how we'll become successful. No, but we had people that showed up in our life who gave us hope. And thank God, because like we were saying about people of old, couldn't rely on medicine so easily. So they said, yes, I'm going to believe I could be healed. Well, because me and my brother really didn't have like a foundation to kind of prop us up. When someone gave us a little bit of hope, whether it was Mike Dugan for me or the people Eric met when he was in the service, we both were like, okay, we're in.
Yeah.
I'm going to believe this because this at least feels a little better.
Yeah.
And the people who were sharing it with us, it was obvious there was nothing in it for them.
Yes.
There was nothing. Eric and I had nothing. There was no benefit for them, even though we were both cynical because we didn't trust anything. What's it in for this with this guy? But because there was nothing in it for them, we felt the sincerity of it.
Yeah. Yep. So if you're out there listening, no matter what you're going through, it's if you can accept the fact that if you change your thinking and work on the level of your thoughts.
Yes.
Like, this doesn't mean overthinking like Darrell said, no, but it means like being loving and kind in your thoughts. It means questioning do I really have to be this afraid right now? Well, maybe there's another way of looking at it. And I like what you said, because a couple things you said, and I noticed this week because I was going in, and I don't know, there's this chemicalization, as Marty and Richard Pacheco from last week were talking about. There's a lot of good stuff happening for me right now, and in my consciousness is shifting. And
I think it's happening for everyone, because I'm going through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
I think the world is
Right.
something good. We're on the brink.
Yeah.
And that's why we're letting go of these
right.
blah, like
That's
these
right.
boogeymen in our minds.
I agree, because that's where we need to release them from.
Yes.
Is from within our own mind. So one of the things you said was staying in a flow of giving. And the reason to do that is not because it makes you a good person, but it makes you who you are. You are a good person. And when you share your gifts, you feel good, right? The other thing that Darrell's talked about, I've talked about, write down the things that are working in your favor so that your mind starts to see, I live in a friendly universe. Write down the thing, write down when you tried this and it worked.
Yes.
So that your subconscious mind begins to see that things are working. The other thing Emma Curtis Hopkins says a lot, which is what you said about Emmett Fox, which is when we read truth, especially if we're receptive to it in that moment, we find a way, our hearts sing. It's not something that you have to make happen. It's like watching a funny comedian. The laughter just bubbles up from within, you know. And I like this, what's her name? Martha Smock, excuse me, in this book, Fear Not. She calls it adding wings to your world, because when I'm in fear, doubt, and worry, I'm crawling in my thinking. But we can fly in our thinking. And she says there are persons today who reject the idea of a spiritual concept of themselves in the world. They think that they are looking at things logically and rationally. They say, I'm not in bondage to anyone or anything. What do you mean by freedom? When we add wings to our world, we're not flying away from our world. Rather, we are adding freedom and power to it.
Yes.
Real freedom comes when we add wings to our world through faith. When we know the truth that makes us free. So what is the truth we are to know? To know the truth is to be constantly aware of the presence and power of God. To know the truth is to see beyond appearances to the wholeness and perfection of God.
Yes.
We are spiritual beings. This is the thing. This rational, fear-based thinking, it's great. It's like it all adds up on paper, but it fails to recognize that we are spiritual beings, right? And
well, you know what? It's like what you said at the beginning before we went on the air about ego. That type of thinking gets you up to the point of change, but you got to have the faith to get through it.
That's right. It's like those trust falls or something that people practice. It's like you have to learn to let go. That's what I'm learning right now.
Yes.
And I had to admit, I was like, I hear my intuition. And like you and Pacheco were talking about last week, there's a window. I hear the intuition loud and clear, and then give it 5 seconds, and this rational, fear-based thinking is going to try to write it all off.
Yeah.
So catch those intuitions and like ground them in any way you can. Step out. You're going to have to step out boldly if they're taking you in a new direction. She says, we are spiritual beings created in God's image and likeness, and having in us God's own spirit, the Christ. To know the truth is to be free. And I want to share this.
Yes.
I read this. Oh, and yes. And so this has been just transforming my life. So many good things have been happening. And I've been feeling right when my old mind was telling me it's over for you. I have been telling my old mind it is not over for you.
No, it's not.
There is no darkness. There is only light. And it's amazing how quickly that thing that we believe is unchangeable. The only reason it's unchangeable, and I just read this morning, is because we have deemed it unchangeable. So time to start saying it's not unchangeable. Start reading things that remind you that it is not unchangeable. So she says, do you want to say something?
Well, just real quick, our guest is fantastic. She's going to be on, but before the show started, I wrote down just a few days ago.
Yeah.
Because the idea to go from nope to hope is to flip, like you were saying. You got to flip the way I'm looking at it. And just this week, earlier the week, I was thinking about everyone, you know, when we think you're in traffic, it's, it looks like the whole world's out to get me. The world's out to get me. And I said, wait a minute, I'm going to flip this. And I started going, the world's out to bless me. Everyone's out to bless me. And it instantly shook that loose in my subconscious. I even feel it now when I say, the world's out to bless me.
Yes.
Everyone's out to bless me.
That's right.
Do that for one day and see what happens.
That's so good. Yes. The world is out to bless you. The other day, yesterday, man, I've been listening to my intuition and it's crazy stuff. I woke up and I thought to myself, I'm going to get my assistant principal a Jersey Mike sandwich out of nowhere. Right. And I knew better. Don't write that off.
Right.
And then I was like, I don't know why I'd go to Jersey Mike's. I haven't been there in a while. Then I realized later, I have to go to Chipotle because one of my students has been doing really well. And I told him, if you do well for 3 weeks, I'll buy the order you want. And so, which is right next to the Jersey Mike's.
Right. That's
so
right.
I was like, oh my God. That thought came before I was even consciously aware. So I went to Chipotle, and then I asked another friend if she wanted a sandwich. She did. So everyone wanted some form of roast beef sandwich. I go to it's roasted on the premise.
Yes.
I went in there, and they didn't have
the roast beef.
So I'm like, what am I going to do? And then I just put in my app, Jersey Mike's. And for some reason, I was like, okay, it took me 9 minutes. And then because of Darrell's help.
There was one close by?
It was 9 minutes away across, which was no time at all.
No.
And because of Darrell's help, I realized I don't need to rush back. I don't have anywhere I need to be. I have plenty of time. For some reason, the thought of getting them the sandwiches and not trying to figure that out was like, all right. So I got the Chipotle thing, and then I drove to Jersey Mike's. Immediately, I went in there, and and it was in, that kind of despicable shopping center.
Yeah, I know which one you're. I knew right away where you went to go.
So I'm like, this is gonna. Hopefully, I'll bless this.
Yeah, you have to bless it because I could feel if I knew I was going to that shopping center, the feng shui and the parking lot's bad. I'd start to feel constriction.
That's right.
And I have to go, no.
Yeah.
No.
But because I was high on Jersey Mike's for my friends, I went there. So I asked the guy, "You guys got roast beef?" And he says, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Oh, across town they didn't, so I'm glad I came." And he's like, "Oh, there are different." I mean, he turned into the most friendly, happy guy. And I go, "Wow, maybe I'll come here from now on. The vibe's so good in here." And the whole place lit up, and everything was going great. And I'm getting my sandwiches, and I hear this lady behind me. He says to her, "How are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm good." And she's like, "I'm always good." She's like, "No matter what happens, I'm good." And because I was in this like intuitive, joyful state, I heard what she was saying. I was like, she has to practice affirmative prayer. So when she came next to me, I was like, you know the secret to everything, don't you? And she's like, yeah, I give thanks to God now for what he's doing now and what he's going to do. And I let go of control because I'm not in control. And I know heaven. God has got me. And I started tingling, and like the tension I've been trying to I've been intentionally letting go of, it was a prayer. It was an affirmative prayer session in Jersey Mike's that would not have happened if that other place had roast beef. And I had that intuition to get my assistant principal. It was the whole thing is so crazy.
This is why you never argue with a hunch, folks. It's God directing our steps.
And the voice is in you.
Yes.
And it will lead you to this truth that we are talking about. It's the truth. It's called the truth with a T, capital T. The rest of it is made up in our imagination. Yes. There is a truth beyond the fear that we make up in our imagination that will heal us of anything. It will transform our lives in the most amazing. My life, it's doing it right now. And Emma Curtis Hopkins in Scientific Christian Mental Practice, who I referenced earlier, said everybody. This is Eddie B in a nutshell in the past. Everybody nearly tries to cover up the main purpose of his life. He tells all kinds of stories to himself and others about what he is seeking. Often he tells that all he asks is just enough to feed and clothe and house his family. Let him tell the honest truth that he seeks for unlimited bounty.
Yeah.
Nothing can possibly satisfy anybody short of unlimited supply. God is the idea of unlimited supply, which men keep covered so deeply within their minds. If you name your good, do not fail to say, my good is my unlimited support, my unfailing support. The good will soon bring you marvelous support. New provisions will be made for you. There is no limit to the bounty of truth. The substance of truth is shown by the happy prosperity which can come to you and is sure to come when you speak truth.
And I know we're going to go to a break now, but I just want to say this. This is why scientifically it is important to get your hopes up and not dismiss this stuff, because each emotion releases chemicals in your body.
100% accurate.
So each emotion, and that's why hate and anger and walking around like I was earlier in self-pity,
Yep.
that releases chemicals that are not healthy. And getting myself on board with hope, he's just getting our hopes up, actually is the best thing you could do for yourself physically.
Yes.
Because it creates a different environment
right.
in your body.
Right.
It creates a different environment totally, but starting within your body.
This is amazing. You're 100% accurate. This week, because I've just been, and Darrell's with your help, because you're the most follow your intuition living person I know. I've done it, and my voice, other voices are telling me you're crazy, you're being irresponsible, and I'm just like, no. The voice of God is telling me, the voice within me, this voice that I can rely on, is telling me just do this, and you won't have to do any of that other stuff. And I've been doing it, and as soon as that thought environment changes, because my body was constricting in certain areas, not because it has any say in it, it's restricting because of the thoughts in my subconscious mind that are acting on it. So when we release those thoughts and get new emotions, all that blockage is released. While we're talking, I just got a text from my wife about something. I had done all these extra hours at work, and there's all this hubbub about getting paid, and it was a long time ago, but in November. But something in time, you just kind of let them deal with it. Let them. Yeah. They're telling you they're going to deal with it. Just bless it, bless it, bless it. And it looked like it wasn't happening. While we're talking, my wife, like the $900 just came into my bank account. So this stuff works.
You have little faith.
Yeah, I know. The only Chinese fella mentioned in the Bible. Ye of little faith. At least that I'm aware of. All right, let's thank our Patreon subscribers. Man, if there's one person out there that jumps on Patreon, you're going to love it. We do Tuesday Patreon.
Yes.
Is that a word? Tuesday Patreon, Prosperity Zoom. It's been great. You can listen to the recording later. But also, just by circulating $5, $20, $25, $100 a month, tithing, or in that way, if this is a show that is inspiring you to keep stepping out boldly, you will experience the benefits. If you're not doing it with us, do it somewhere else and give it a try, and just get involved in circulating your good. You got to circulate your good. Circulation is the law of life. So patreon.com/funniest thing. If you want to send us something, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We got a card from Kirky. I thought we read this one last week.
No, the new one.
No, we read this one. That was right
here. The
here.
No One Instruction book. No, the other one looked like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was also angry. Okay, this one said on the front.
A lot of his ones are angry.
I'm so angry about global warming. The guy on the front says, and on the quote from that Kirky sent us, no one has an instruction book for life because each life is unique. Seek, explore, trust, and love. What else is there? And then he found a picture of me from college. If you look on YouTube, you could see it. He says, how can I be a better man? Perhaps I should take a wife and sire some children. No, I shall become a monk and devote myself to God. All right. And it says, if you are dissatisfied, here's a quote from Neville Goddard. Neville effing Goddard is what he wrote. If you are satisfied with your present expression of, if you are dissatisfied, all right, whole different thing. If you are dissatisfied with your present expression of life, then you must be born again. And it's always available. Rebirth is the dropping of that level with which you are dissatisfied, that level of your thinking, and rising to that level of consciousness which you desire to express and possess, which is what you just read from Sicking, right? Or whoever that was.
Okay.
All right. Let's give a shout out to Jeff Comfort out there in Kansas City, Kansas, our chief audio engineer, because each week
he takes us
right into the comfort zone.
And now our three breaths made.
By the way, Lois Conklin said,
what?
The world is out to bless me. Yes.
The world is out to bless me.
She said, and you, and greetings from Lois C. All right, we got
this one was made famous by a Italian
Italian stallion.
No, an Italian
Mystic.
mystic
That's right.
from
St. Francis, if you will.
St. Francis, actually. Yes, he is a St. Francis from Hoboken.
Hoboken.
Okay, you
How
ready?
about that? All right, take a deep breath. We got high hopes. High hopes. Wait. High apple pie in the sky hopes.
I think there's two we's. Let me try. We got high hopes. We got high hopes. High apple pie in the sky hopes.
We got high hopes. We got high hopes. We got high apple pie in the sky hopes. Yeah. All right, coming up next, magnificent Marty Thurman gets us all living up with today's reading, Creative Power of the Mind. Get your hopes up, for crying out loud. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland. Oh boy. Marty's in the house.
I love her. She's got her X-ray glasses on, Ed. Cover up.
Oh my God, watch out. You can't cover up from those glasses. You can't hide.
My fingernail.
Marty, how are you? We're just taking the break from the audio. We're still live on YouTube. Darrell's going to powder his nose. I hope you're having a good time.
You know, when you were talking, it made me think of that, and I'm sure you've heard it. Conceive, believe, receive.
Conceive, believe, receive. We can share that when we get back on with the audio too. Conceive, believe. Yeah, let's talk about that. Because I think somewhere in there, you got to get your hopes up if you're going to receive that thing.
Got to
That's the
believe it
believing,
can
huh?
happen. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be willing to let go of the old to receive the new. Yeah, let's see. We got 7 folks out there live right now. That's good. This is amazing how this stuff works. That payment coming in through my account right now at this perfect timing while we're talking about prosperity and Emma Curtis Hopkins. This stuff's amazing.
It is. It continues to prove itself.
Yeah. When I found Emma Curtis Hopkins' book at the Goodwill, and it jumped off the shelf of me, and I was driving home from the show that day. We had eaten. I wasn't even planning on going to Goodwill, and I don't even go to a lot. My wife loves their stores. I mean, I do too, but she's like the queen of it. But I was just like, I'm just gonna walk through there for some reason. And then I found that book on the shelf, and I didn't even know what it was, but I was like, what's this interesting picture? And it was pretty dense, and I was just like, I think I'd been studying with Nancy Norman at the time, and she had mentioned Emma Curtis Hopkins quite a bit, and I just said, I'm going to read this thing one page at a time or whatever. I'm not going to try to get through it as much as just, and there were moments where I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what Charles and Myrtle learned from. Like the universe started to move through me, and this book has deepened my life relating to all of these principles. Like her no nonsense, non-watered down, but not aggressive in any way, but just very clear, speaks to me in the way that she describes the truth that just makes my heart sing without me trying to do so. A lot of people have said it's super dense or whatever, but I don't know, for some reason for me, I guess at that right time, it just felt like the right words. It wasn't a struggle. I know you've read this book, right?
I have, and Myrtle Fillmore was the same way. I mean, she didn't sugarcoat it. It was very clear to her, and she would make it very clear to you if you were asking for her advice.
Yeah. Is there a writing or something particular that you like from Myrtle?
I like the book that they put together, her letters. Have you seen that one?
I don't know that I have.
Her
Have you
healing
seen
letters?
the Myrtle Letters book?
I think we have copies from the thing.
Oh, we might have it. I'm gonna look on my bookshelf.
I think we have it.
Darrell's coming back. While you get that, let me just take care of business real quick, and then we'll get started.
Yeah.
I want to see that, though.
Myrtle.
There you go.
Ah. Oh, nice. I think I have that with a different cover.
You probably do. This is the newer, the
Yeah.
newer printed one, but I really love it because it has all of her letters where she talks about healing and, it's just so good.
Yeah, those old ones. I like it because they're unapologetic. They go straight to the point, and it just immediately kicks my brain on board.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually, too, it motivates me to up my game. Like I could see where, okay, you need to kick this up a notch, Darrell. You can't be so complacent like you've been. Like I go, okay, I see what the problem is. Like it motivates me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's a good one. It's got a lot. I can always tell if I love a book because of all the stars and the highlights, that I put in it.
Could you hold it up for me to see?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have the older cover.
Okay, I'm gonna look for that. Unless you maybe I can. Well, I'll get it, or you can.
I know we got them.
Okay. All right. So let's get ready here and get right to it. I'll bring us back.
Okay.
Oh man, this is so fun. Thank you for joining us, Marty.
Oh, it's just so good to see you guys.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Today's show is called Get Your Hopes Up with Marty Thurman. Welcome to the show, Marty. How are you?
Great. Happy to be here. Good to see you.
We're besides being a unitic, are you a prayer chaplain or something? Any kind of like official role like that?
I am a licensed Unity teacher and one of the spiritual leaders at our congregation in St. Louis, Missouri.
What's the name of your center there?
Unity of St. Louis South.
Unity of St. Louis South. I can put the. Do you guys you post any of your stuff online?
We don't.
Okay, that's so good. But if anyone out there is in the area, pay a visit. Unity of St. Louis South. Say hi to Marty while you're there and get some truth in you.
Is Beasley in that neighborhood? Where's Beasley?
Where is Beasley? You know Beasley?
I do, but I'm not sure exactly where she's
Florida,
at.
maybe? Remember she
that's
was like, there's like
right.
palm trees out there. window?
That's right.
We're trying to track her down. She's gone dark on us, man. The text.
Did you send her one?
Yeah. I wonder if I had the right number. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. But she was, yeah, I mean, it's funny that Reverend Kathy Beasley comes up right now because she was with us when we were dumpster diving, a fellow lover of the truth and the old books, and has an amazing smile and a lightness and joy, just like you, Marty.
Oh, thank you.
That's why we were so happy you were able to join us, because I feel like this is kind of a healing episode. Like personally, like I'm like still today, sometimes we're just flying high straight through, but I feel like we worked out some of our own stuff and it's just gotten higher and higher. So this is a perfect time for you to come on board and share what your thoughts are on the subject and on anything you've heard us say so far.
Well, like I was telling you during the break, when you were talking, it reminded me of those 3 words, conceive. So conceive whatever it is, believe, and receive.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, that belief is that part we're trying to hang on to, We can conceive a better thing or a healing or a job change or whatever that is that we're looking for. That belief part is the hard part because, like you said, that's where people come in and say, but I don't want to jinx it,
Yes.
Yeah.
But if we can wrap our head around that and believe and seriously believe, then we're putting ourselves in a position to receive what it is that we need and want.
Yes.
I'm jotting this down.
Yeah, and that's where I was telling you at the break, this was it this book? I feel like it was during the time I was reading practical scientific Christian mental practice, but just the understanding of the role of our subconscious mind in that phase right there, where that's where the unbelief will come forward from, right? Maneuvering that part, how do we keep our beliefs up, right?
You know, James Darrell Freeman has a saying that I've always loved, and he says, "I'm going to meet my good."
That's
Yes.
great.
So when I feel that anxiety coming in, I try to remember that I'm going to meet my good. You
I
know,
think that's an
everything's
Emma
going to be
Curtis.
okay, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to meet my good. I love that. I think that's a very Emma Curtis Hopkins thing to say.
Well, that was James Darrell Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would fit with her. I mean, they're all New Thought.
Right, and she was the teacher of teachers, so
Right.
because when I read her stuff, I can hear different people that I've read, including the Fillmores or
Yes. Yeah.
Raymond Charles Barker or what have you. Yeah, so great. So conceive, believe, and receive. Oh, and you mentioned a word. I don't unless you want to. I mean, you can continue about. You mentioned chemicalization earlier. We talked about it a bit last week, and I experienced it this week. But can you kind of speak to what, from your perspective, what that means? Because it really ties into this. You're going to conceive. We all conceive.
All the time
All
we're
the
conceiving.
time. And the more we start to tap into this and recognize that as a valuable and vital part of our lives, the better off we become. But there's this thing of beliefs. And like when we start to change, question those beliefs or test them or move through not follow the old beliefs. You want to speak to what the chemicalization
Well, I think
is?
it's kind of what, you alluded to. I can't remember if it was before we got on camera or after, but none of us come from a perfect home or perfect situation. Like, Darrell was saying, it doesn't matter if you live in Beverly Hills or you live in, the Boot Hill or whatever. It's
Right.
we all have our challenges, and we figure out a way to deal with those challenges, and sometimes we deal with them in an unhealthy way with drugs, alcohol, ego, power, however
Right.
it has worked for us. So when you're starting to make that change and to believe and think differently, that old way of coping kind of bubbles up and really kind of hits head with the new way. And it, because it's like, wait a minute, this has always worked for me. What are you trying to do? And so you've got to find a way to let yourself let go of that and give yourself permission to, hey, let's just try this. And I had a psychologist that said one time, just tell that part of your psyche, I appreciate you letting me know that you're concerned about this, or I appreciate that warning, but I don't need your help right now. So let's just not do that and let me do this,
Yeah.
because if you just try to ignore that, it just keeps pushing harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
So you've got to acknowledge that part of those old behaviors and those old coping mechanisms that you were
Yes.
using before, and you've got to have a conversation, and the
Yeah.
conversation is, thank you for being there then and helping me get through that, but let me try this a different way. I want to do this differently. And then it kind of goes away. But if you keep ignoring it and pushing it down and like, no, 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 it almost becomes that chemicalization is just this churning and you feel bad and you will literally get sick from it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
your immune system will suffer, and so you've got to, sometimes you have to walk through the fire and sometimes you don't. For some people, they get this new information and they take to it like a duck to water, and they didn't have hardly any of that bubble up or any of that battle. But
Yeah.
some of us have had to work through that. Where's that message really coming from? Oh, that was from my mom when I was 4. Okay, well, I don't want to play that tape anymore.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I
That
want to play the new thought tape.
Yes.
Yes.
And what's great about that analogy is a great way to erase old tapes is to record over them.
Exactly.
And I like what you shared, because I'll use that in meditations, because sometimes I'll be meditating and all of a sudden a concern pops up or a worry pops up. And what I've now practiced when those come up, I just go, oh, I'm not saying it out loud. I'm saying it in my mind.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that to my attention. God's going to take care of that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the thought goes, oh, okay.
Yes.
And it goes away. And then, of course, the next, oh, yeah, but what about this? Oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention. God's going to take care of that.
But the key is that you addressed it.
Yeah.
And you didn't try to push it down and say,
no.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
But you actually acknowledged it. And
yeah.
And then what happens? Within a few minutes, my mood is elevated and I'm going, wow, this was the best meditation I ever had. And it's just doing this simple practice.
Yep. Lately, that's like I said, like I like to write and type things, and a lot of people do like free form writing, but I got into that just from writing poetry and lyrics and stuff. And so like, it's always intuitive kind of writing. My hand just started doing it when I was like a teenager, because I was just like, had stuff inside me. And I didn't know that if you're an artist, it's going to come out. And like, that's just what I do. But so I kind of understood that. But the thing that I like what you guys are talking about is that not everyone takes the time to say, hey, I really hear you. You got a lot of fear coming up. That does sound scary. That's okay though, because God's taking care of it. Because anything we bring into the light, and if we haven't done it in the past, for some reason we thought it's too scary, so we might not even ever want to bring that up. But if it's coming out, I'm not saying go in there and find the stuff and try to bring it out, but if it's already pushing out, once we shine light on it, like you guys are talking about, it has to dissolve. It won't feel like, because we're going to think this is the end, I'm letting this out. But no, it will dissolve and relax. And because I hear what I've like counseled people, what happens is people go, there's a part of me that's like this, and there's a part of me that's trying, and it's like, just say it, like give it a voice, bring it into the light. It's not going to control you. It's not going to take you over. Just let it out and experience it, and tell that part of you love it. And that's will free up that trying to, like, because the only battle, it's not happening anywhere outside myself.
Right.
So becoming friends with our own mind is a very important thing. And like, just, we're love, we're light. There's nothing bad that's going to happen. And we might not have been raised in an environment where that, like, we're little kids. We think that these fears, that's God around us. But now we know better, and we're continuing to learn. When I say better, I'm talking about truth with what's actually going on. Spiritual maturity, like emotional maturity, where we just know, and we can be a loving, firm and loving grandmother, like Darrell said, grandfather to ourselves, and just be like, it's all good. I hear that's scary, but like, God's taking care of it. Because when you say that reminds me of being around my grandfather. It's just like, he had the ability to dismiss things, because it's like, I've been here, I've done that, it's okay, it's nothing to worry about.
Yep. Amen.
I don't like that. There's a part of me. I've never liked that. That feels as there's a part of, because really I want to say the truth is, I have this old worn out thought that keeps telling, because saying it's a part of me, I could feel it. It cements it in me. Like it's like too much. And also, so from now on, I'm going to just, first of all, not take it to heart when people say that. I won't try to correct them, because, I know they're not in the space in that moment. But in my mind, I can go, okay, they just have this old thought that they're repeating. And I'm going to let myself know that no, there's a part of me that always gets like this in these. I'm going to say, no, there's a thought that keeps coming up. Because that's all it is. It's a thought that I've been repeating that's become a belief. For this one little area. And you're blessed in that you're not a Californian where people pack the musket so much. So you often will just voice it, like, I'm a human. I think thoughts that are angry or whatever, and it's okay, and it's like, because what happens too is sometimes it's the best part of us that we're trying to overcome, because we think that we're supposed to be another way. But we're supposed to have feelings and thoughts and be outlandish sometimes and be weird. And, that's creativity as well. You know what? I should read because that goes along with conscious self-government.
You're right. The one that Marty has too.
So this is from a book called Thoughts for a Friend by Foster C. McClellan, which we highly recommend. They're little one paragraph, one page, maybe 2 paragraphs the most, readings that go right to the point. And this goes along with exactly what Ed is saying. Sometimes we'll pack the musket to the point of conformity or fear of other people's opinion to where we're stifling our true self.
That's what I was going to say. The last thing on that is that what I'm learning this week is you can't do this for someone else. Doing this stuff, even this for someone else, it's a lie. They don't need you to do it for them. I'm learning to do it for me, to stand on my own 2 feet because I want to live and I want to experience the best of life. And sometimes there's a subtle part of us that thinks this is another way to get mom and dad to love us or whatever. It doesn't work that way. Mom or dad, the real mom or dad, already loves us, and that love is trying to express through us.
Yeah. You can't do it. You can't make art for somebody else.
No.
You have to be the audience. Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Even this show, Ed and I can't contemplate. We get ill at just even starting to think about ratings, right? We got to just say that. We just do it for ourselves to feel better.
Right.
How many likes or dislikes.
Right.
We can't even look at that. All I know is I had bad thoughts last night, woke up with self-pity, but knew I'm going to be doing this show and I'm going to feel better. That's all I need to know. Whatever it is you do it for you. And that's what conscious self-government is. And I'm going to read it. Recently, I heard a fine talk entitled Conscious Self-Government. It had a profound effect on me at the time. Why do all the wonderful things we hear to truly inspire us seem only to move us for a limited period of time? One of our greatest problems is that we just don't seem to be able to put into practice the very thing that we know is right for our living. Perhaps it is because we want to do what the other fellow is doing. Perhaps we really don't want to be different. We want to conform, play it safe. Mm-hmm. To live in a conscious self-government is to march to the tune of our own drummer, to be true to our own inner guidance, to know ourselves. Through conscious self-government, we can enter the kingdom of good right now. You and I, my friend, are indeed wondrous miracles made in the image of God. Self-government is our heritage, to do with as we will.
Nice.
And that's you listening to that hunch and not arguing with it.
That's right.
And then even when the barrier came up, oh, we don't have roast beef. Oh, that means driving 9 minutes. You still followed the hunch.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And look, okay, that medicine, that thing that happened, that miracle. Some people might be listening going, oh, yeah, well, so he met a nice lady. Yeah, well, for Darrell and Ed, that's worth $1 million. It
really is.
It feels so good when that happens.
I was buzzing that.
Buzzing. That's
energy.
Everything, because consciousness is everything.
Yeah, she gave me like a full Reverend Ike style sermon while standing in line in 30 seconds at Jersey Mike's.
That's everything.
How about this other Foster McClellan reading that we sent to you? I feel like that might go nicely after what you read.
Be happy to read it.
Yes.
It's called The Creative Power of the Mind. The world is awakening to the truth about the creative power of the mind. The things we conjure up in our mind, even imaginary things, will soon become real to us. People everywhere are becoming increasingly aware of this fact. Whatever we imagine in our mind, whatever we really put our faith in, will manifest in our life and affairs. We must constantly be aware of what we believe in order to bring forth our highest good. Thoughts of sickness, lack, or limitation can never, for a moment, take possession of our mind. I have faith in God as my almighty resource. I trust God implicitly to preserve me in my prosperity. This is our inheritance as children of God, It is in accord with God's divine plan for our life. Amen.
Yes. Prosperity. You can't help the poor if you become one of them. You can't help the sick if you become one of them. And unfortunately, a lot of us would hear superstitious, faux virtuous tellings from either our church or not necessarily the message of the church, but maybe some of the people, maybe our parents, to thinking that it was wrong to bring happiness to a situation where people are sad. It's blasphemous or it's disrespectful. But yet, that's the whole message, is to get people's hopes up. Because I could feel myself stifled in certain situations. How dare I say anything nice now? These people are grieving. You know, it even happened at my father's funeral when my dad died. My brother and I were young. So, I mean, we saw it coming. He had been suffering with cancer for several years, and he was home alone with us and getting very sick. And we were kind of picking up the slack in the house, and we were still just teenagers. So when he finally died, it was a mixed bag of, there was a lot of relief and then guilt for feeling relief. So then when we were at the funeral, we weren't sure what to feel. So I was looking around and seeing, you know, the grown-ups. Okay, they're looking morose and they're sad. So I better look morose and sad. And I felt so ashamed of feeling the relief because of how sick he was and how mentally in mental anguish he was, because he was getting angrier and angrier and sicker. And I had no one to tell that to.
Right.
You know? But here, it would have been nice to have somebody who was a little jovial.
Right.
To say, hey, man, you know, I know your dad passed away, but, you know, he's at peace now, man.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
Totally.
That would have been heaven. But I felt, oh, no, dare not. I mean, imagine being around what you're perceiving as Mama Bees.
I hear you.
So it crippled me.
I hear you. I've been to many funerals in churches that I'm like, this does not help me in any way. There was a lot of like, well, we hope he made it to the other side, or, you know, like, it's so bad. And like, that's why I love these teachings, right?
I know.
I mean, I just opened this book, the Emma Curtis, who said, hope needs faith. She says, if you cannot believe you can cure all, take a night or day for the statement of what you believe in truth. Covenant with Spirit for the Spirit to do all your cures for you. And that's really important. That's what that lady said to me at the Jersey Mike's. She said, I learned I'm not in control. I give thanks for what God did yesterday, what God's doing now, and what I know God's going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she said, once you start doing that, everything just starts humming along. So this is the good news for you. If you're out there and you think this stuff doesn't work for you, just work on your faith. That's what the Emma Curtis Hopkins talks about that a lot. Spend a day, an afternoon, like really just digging into a truth statement and feeling it and power washing your mind out of all the stuff that's telling you it doesn't work. Get your hopes up. It does work.
You know what my favorite Ernest Holmes is?
What?
We all have the power to raise the dead, but we don't all believe it.
Yeah.
It's such a good thing to contemplate, because I can feel it when I think that. Like, I want to believe this more today. Yeah. We all have the power to raise the dead, but we don't all believe it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I love about the way we pray in unity is we're not beseeching and, oh, please help me, blah, 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 but we are affirming what we know is coming our way.
Yes.
The healing. Thank you, God, for the healing that's on the way. Thank you for, you know, the doctors that you're bringing to me, the medicines that have been developed. Thank you for all of that. And instead of that being such a, you know, well, if I'm lucky, maybe you'll give me what I'm asking for, you know, prayer.
Yeah, right. And I think in a lot of environments, kind of like what Darrell was saying, what's modeled for us is to get our concerns up instead of our hope. Yeah. And what we're talking about in this practice is treating your concerns, releasing the concern, getting the hope up so that God can flow through.
Yeah.
Because I know people, and we've all known people who they wear their concerns as if it's like a new coat. They keep coming over with a new version of the same, and it's like, you can't do a thing for someone like that if they're cherishing the concern. Like, and it takes faith sometimes, though, because we somehow our mind, like Evan Fox says, bear hugs kettle, will hug the concern to us, thinking that is somehow keeping us safe. And like I'm only speaking from my experience this week. Let it go. Just step out boldly. Like, find ways to release the concern. Treat the concern, not the conditions. Treat your concern about the condition, and now you're not putting pressure on the valve, and the condition
will heal,
and whatever help you need will arrive through the open door of your consciousness and your receptivity to the world around you and the good that's already there.
Yeah, the bad mental practice of humanity is in times that aren't even that bad. Yeah. Let's get the concerns up,
right,
instead of the hopes.
Yeah, right.
And that's the problem.
Right.
The solution is get the hopes up.
Yep.
Oh, we gotta.
Marty, you want to share some closing thoughts before we tell a quick story about our last visit?
Our last visit with you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know what it was each one of you said, but it ran across my mind. You know, I just got back from Australia and New Zealand, and one of the things that I saw while I was there were these glowworms. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I mean, I've heard that term, but I don't.
Well, I know the song. There's a song.
Worms? Yeah, there is. Somebody told me.
Okay.
Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
But in these caves and these wet and dark places, there are these glowworms that they glow like kind of like a firefly, except they're constant. They don't go off and on. Right. And so we went to this area that was owned by Aboriginal tribe, and I couldn't take any pictures because it would be disrespectful. But when we went in with lanterns into this cave. And then when we got into the darkest part of the cave, he had us turn our lanterns off and then look up. And because I had a lantern, when I turned it off, you know, I got blared in the face with the light. So it took a minute for my eyes to adjust. But before my eyes adjusted, I heard this collective, you know, and then I'm like, oh, come on, eyes, you know. And finally they adjusted, and I looked up, and oh my God, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I felt like I was in one of those space capsules looking at the stars in the heaven. Wow. It was so beautiful. It was like the Milky Way. I mean, just this beautiful little bright blue lights all over the top of that cave. And I was thinking later how that's us. You know, we're light. And if there'd only been 4 of those in there, it wouldn't have been near as impressive. But there were hundreds, and it was wow. Oh. So we need to keep this thing going so that other lights start lighting up. And, you know, and like the Jersey Mike's, perfect example. You found another light. What did that do for you? You know?
Yes.
So just in my mind, I thought, you know, that's a lesson in the making, you know, that that is us. And the more of those lights that shine, we change the world.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We're lamplighters. That's my new career path.
Yeah.
You're a glowworm.
Totally.
Yeah, a glowworm, a lamplighter.
And we illuminate the truth of what's been there all along.
Yeah, that's all.
The beauty. We find our way. If we in this lifetime find our way to the obvious, which is that this is a divine miracle and we are expressions of God, we've done something right.
You know what we're like, Ed?
We're blessed.
We're going to one of these old barns, and there's a dusty garage. Okay. And we go inside, and there's this tarp over this mountain inside the garage, and we just go woof. And we pull it off, and there's this beautiful, immaculate automobile, pristine, And we're like, because all we're doing is just revealing what's already there. And you're like, holy cow, this is amazing. Well, that's true for all of us.
That's right. That's the way I feel about the Unity tradition when we have gone to Unity Village. I feel like not everyone knows how to turn on that spaceship, but that is a spaceship of divine light. And thank God we're all the key. It's the key, right? The golden key resides within each one of us. This practicing the presence and recognizing the presence of God in everything we do.
Amen.
All right, Marty. Thank you for coming on.
Am I doing both voices?
I'll do.
Okay.
I know you're usually our voice actor, but I'll be Marty for the sake of this scene.
Okay. This is actually not a scene. This is a true story from when we were at Unity Village.
We're setting the scene because one day, Darrell and Ed went to visit Marty Thurman at Unity Village. After a walk in the garden, Fusaro came back with a big swollen nose. Marty asked, "Whoa, what happened to you?" Darrell replied,
"I sniffed a brose."
Marty was confused. "What? There's no B in rose," Darrell said.
"There was in this one."
All right, everyone. Thank you for being a part of Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Subscribe to the show, like the show, share the show with your friends.
Yes.
And next time you're found
with your chin on the ground, there's a lot to be learned. So look around. Just what makes that little old ant think he'll move that rubber tree plant? Anyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he's got high hopes. He's got high hopes. He's got high apple pie in the sky hopes. So anytime you're getting low, instead of letting go, just remember that ant. Oops, there goes another rubber tree. Oops, there goes another rubber tree. Oops, there goes another rubber tree plant. Woohoo! We did it. Whoa, my script landed up on the bookshelf. Have a great day, everyone. Marty, thank you so much. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too.